Hey everyone, today I will be reviewing the fifth and final minimum factory Plamax 1/20th scale Mikumo Guynemer from Macross Delta. This will not be my final review, this is just the final character in the 5-member idol group of Walkure. So that's what I meant when I said my final review. Just to clarify things, as usual, I will be discussing the parts count, some of the parts, paint applications that are missing, the detail and comparison between the Bandai figurized bust, and my overall opinion after whether or not this figure is worth your card. I meant to say your hard-earned cash. So getting into the review, like the previous four, Kaname, Reina, Makina, and Freya, her parts counts is roughly about 45 to 50 pieces. That is generally the range for these 5 figures. I do not know about the other minimum factory figures, if that is roughly the same count or not. But I will find out soon enough, because I do have Cheryl and Ranka as well. Once I get those built and up and running, I will make video reviews for those as well as Lin Min Mei. I already have one completed, but I don't like the way the figure came out, so I have another one I will be doing. The little tangent aside, let's get into the parts of this figure. I would say that Mikumo is a little bit more intricate in the build compared to the other 4 girls in the series. And what I mean by that is that it's not unusual to have multiple pieces for the legs, but her shoes and this white piece are separate. She has little like not heel spikes, but little designs. I don't know if you can see it right here. I'm putting the toothpick behind it, so hopefully the camera can pick it up. You guys can see it here, as well as this one behind her other foot. Those are its own separate pieces that you must glue on, and they are a pain in the behind. Really, they are. She was a little bit more finicky as a build, in my opinion, only because, and now the 2 figures are hitting each other. Her hair piece is kind of intricate. This little flower here is its own design, as well as the blue piece. The top hair piece right here is its own separate piece, and then you have 3 even smaller pieces for her hair. Oh my god, that was a pain in the arse. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see it, but this one right here, there's another one below it, and then between the 2 you have this piece. They were a pain to try to get glued in. They're so freaking tiny. Ugh. She is not the most difficult build. That was just a very infuriating and frustrating part. As well as these pieces right here between her arms. That was a pain in the ass to kind of figure out too. They're so small that you kind of have to mess with it until you kind of figure out where they go. Her little tail piece right here too was kind of a pain in the ass to do, but I eventually got it figured out. Her hair piece is really just what I told you here, her front and this giant section of hair. This is all just one piece that kind of flows away from her. Surprisingly, as you can see how I have her on the stand, I have her at the very back. she's not as back heavy as I thought she was gonna be, um, with all that hair and everything else. And I think partially because her skirt counterbalances her weight. This section right here is not really glued onto anything. The only thing that's holding it in place is Mikumo's hips. Yes, seriously, there's nothing for you to glue on to her body when you put the dress section on. I mean, the dress section itself, there's this white piece, the black, this white piece, you know, here, the white, and then the blue. All of that glues on together, but when you put it in, it just kind of fits before you put the arms in and the head together. It just slides in and fits down. So there's literally nothing. There is nothing holding her dress in place except for her hips, which is kind of funny because all the other girls, the dress pieces are to some capacity are kind of glued together, and kind of going into the build quality before I even discuss it. But I might as well go into the build quality now since I'm already more than half into it. But yeah, that's kind of funny that she doesn't have anything holding her skirt together except for her hips, her waist. And I guess that kind of makes sense considering how her outfit out of the four is the most revealing of them all. Given that she does have her abdomen revealed so you can see her navel. But she's also a little bit different in construction wise because most of the other girls, their top half is kind of put together by the clothing and then the shoulder area. Excuse me. But Mikumo, you have to assemble her body first, and then everything like from the lining, if you can kind of see it from the lining here and over, that's one piece. Everything on top is a separate piece. So instead of having it lined up like this, where you kind of just put it together on top of each other, it's more like you're kind of like it's angled, so you're kind of like it's like a 45 degree to a 45 degree sandwich against each other instead of just on top of each other like that. If you guys understand, hopefully I'm giving you a good explanation of the build of her the upper part of her body. So, like I said, her build quality is a little bit unique, a little bit different from the rest of the girls, but overall it's not difficult. I would say Mikumo is probably, I would want to say maybe the second most difficult, mainly due to the tiny hair pieces and her arms, the little puffy frills around her arm. But Reina definitely is the hardest out of all of them, build wise. Only because she has, like I said, she has more tiny pieces than I would ever care to touch again with my sausage fat fingers. So, getting into some of the missing paint applications and the detail. Excuse me. Is you can obviously see that her hands, well, you can't see that top piece, so let me move it a little bit. Her hands here is missing the black, like the minimum, or the minimum factory is missing the black on her hands like the figurized bust has. She's obviously missing the detailed color pieces of her little star on her neck, as well as her dress. This is all just white. It should be white and blue, like this color blue right here. It should be white and blue. You can obviously see that the blue piece hanging off of her hair is missing the yellow, and her hair itself is obviously missing the highlights that you can see on the figurized bust. So those are some of the details that will be missing off the 1/20th scale figure. In case you guys are wondering what it looks like, some of the paint applications and whatnot. I did not tell you what decals that Freya had, but again, what I've said before is that they all come with minimal decals. Most of them are going to come with the circular decals for their hip dress. If they have a tie, and Freya did have a tie, so she did come with a water slide decal for that. And the eyes, as you can see, I think Mikumo of the 5 is the only one that had the least decals, because it only came with the eyes and it only came with these. So getting into my opinion piece on it, it's more or less the same as the other 4. It's a buy. I would say it's a buy if you are a fan of the series, you like the figure or the character, and you know how to model build. You may not necessarily need to. I mean, model building is not necessarily something you're going to need to know. Maybe you just want to buy the figure because you want to collect it. You know, that's entirely up to you. But if you don't know the character, you don't know the Macross Delta series, it's probably a pass. I would say, you know, spend your money on something that you may find more enjoyable than these figures here. But overall, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I will get to them and answer them as best I can. Stay tuned for the reviews of Shero Gnome and Ronka Lee when I get to it. Unfortunately, they have not made figurized busts of Shero Gnome or Ronka, or Minmay for that matter. So I will not be able to give you a side-by-side comparison of the details missing. But I will do my best in explaining what is and is not missing off of those figures when I do get around to building them and reviewing them. So again, thank you for watching. You guys have a good day, good night, wherever you may be on this planet. Thanks for watching again. Goodbye.